In this video, we're going to be talking about how I moved my CNC from one house to another. Along the way, I learned some tips, tricks, and I made a lot of mistakes that I want to share with you. So if this is something that interests you, then you're going to want to stick around. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Edgar with A Timber Pine, and moving my CNC wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be, but it also wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So I don't know, it just was a learning experience overall that I want to share with you. In the rush of everything, I wasn't able to record everything as I wanted. Either I didn't have enough storage on my phone to be able to record something, or even after setting up my camera, I forgot to press record. So we're going to do kind of a play-by-play imagination time, because I still want to share with you the process and the experience that I gained from this move. So let's just go ahead and jump into the clips, and I'll go ahead and walk you through them. Well, the first thing that I did was I cleaned my CNC. I cleaned my CNC and my CNC table. So I started off by vacuuming the CNC and the table, and then I took a leaf blower to blow off all the extra dust that I wasn't able to pick up with the vacuum. I definitely would suggest this because you just don't want to have a whole bunch of dust flying on your body, on your nose, and your eyes as you're trying to move it. Who knows if you're in an open trailer and you're just blowing up dust off on the road, or if you have like a travel trailer and you're just getting dust everywhere inside of that. So you just don't want to have to deal with that. So definitely go ahead and clean up your CNC when you are moving your CNC. The next thing that I would definitely suggest is get heavy duty 5-inch caster minimum on your table. If you're brand new and you're just setting up your table, or maybe you want to upgrade your table, I would definitely recommend or suggest considering getting some large 5-inch minimum casters. These heavy duty casters are valuable, and especially the ones with the locks. You got to get heavy duty 5-inch casters with locks. I want to keep repeating it in this video because I think the biggest takeaway and what really helped me move were the fact that I had these casters on the table. It just was just one of those things that it's just the small things like that that I remember, and the casters was on the top of my list. As you can see here in this clip, I'm just moving the CNC from where it was positioned closer to the trailer where I was at. So here's going to be the first imagination part, because I am not able to show you what happens next. So the original plan to get this CNC on the trailer was to get the CNC and the table up onto the trailer at the same time. I didn't want to move anything. I was just going to simply put the CNC table with the CNC up on the trailer. Unfortunately, that was not going to work because I just didn't have enough room. It was heavy by myself, and I just wasn't able to make it happen. Fortunately, the height of the trailer was almost to the same height as the table, so I was able to slide my CNC off the table and onto the trailer without an issue. Nothing got messed up. I was simply able to just slide it over without any issues. Once I had the CNC up on the trailer, I figured, why not get the table up onto the trailer over the CNC. I'll just get it up onto the trailer and roll it over the CNC. The way that I was going to execute this was I was going to get it up on the trailer, lift up one side of the table and get those legs up onto the trailer, get down, and then lift up the other side and roll it over onto the trailer. Well, when it came time to actually execute this, I figured, why not take some time to show you how strong my table is by me jumping on it. I would jump on this CNC table to then get up onto the trailer. So when I jumped up on the table, somehow or another, one of the casters popped off one of the table legs, and thankfully I didn't fall off, but you know, I was definitely uneven there, and thankfully none of the legs broke. That's what I was mostly afraid of, because you know, when something like that happens, you kind of hear the wood creak. Thankfully nothing broke, but one of the casters popped off. What I think happened here is because the caster plate has larger holes, because it's such a heavy duty caster, the screws that I had on there, the screw heads were not large enough to properly secure the caster onto the 4x4 leg. So somehow or another, with the weight and the force of me jumping up onto the table, it just was enough for it to just pop right off. So I ended up just taking the CNC to the new home, and I had my wife and my sister-in-law help me take it down off the trailer and put it on a dolly and stored it in the garage. I left it on the dolly for several weeks before I even put it back up onto the CNC table after the move. So I just had it in the garage stored for a while. Once we had everything moved over to the new house, I waited a few days before I even got into the garage to start organizing things and fixing that CNC table. I simply ended up taking some larger screws with some larger screw heads and then securing that caster back into the leg. Having the larger screws with this larger screw head definitely secured that caster a lot better. Once I had that caster back on, I was then able to position the CNC table in its permanent home. I decided that I wanted the CNC table towards the front of the garage and near an outlet. Obviously, I needed an outlet nearby to be able to turn on the router, turn on the CNC and everything. And secondly, I wanted it closer to the front of the garage because I would then be able to just blow out any dust faster, and it's just right there. Rather than having the CNC in the back of the garage and then blowing all that dust through the whole garage and getting it onto other stuff, having it closer to the entrance of the garage or the opening of the garage, my thought is that it would just be easier and better all around and less dust on my stuff. Once I had the table set up, I didn't get the CNC up for several weeks. I didn't have a rush. I wasn't rushing. I didn't have any projects that were requiring my attention, so I didn't rush. I was focused on other things. Work this year has been busy. Getting the house organized was taking priority, so I didn't rush to get the CNC up on the table. But to get it up onto the CNC table, I did get some help. I had my brother-in-law come over and we both were able to get it up easy. It took less than a minute to get the CNC up onto the table. Once it was up on the table, I was then able to organize it or reposition it how I liked it. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some clips now of that process. Unfortunately, I was not able to record the part of us lifting it up onto the table. You just have to take my word for it. It was less than a minute for us to get it up onto the table. So let's go ahead and jump into those clips and we'll do a play-by-play.
All right guys, so I just moved it up on my CNC table and I totally forgot to press record. So I have my brother-in-law who's 6'5", big dude, help me out. He got on this side, on the right-hand side, and he has the arms to be able to kind of push it that way. And I have this side. I was able to access it here on the left-hand side. But yeah, I'm so sorry guys. I pulled out the camera and everything ready to go, and I forgot to press record. But anyways, you're gonna need 2 people, and it's not set up at the, obviously at the right angles and things like that. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm just gonna shimmy it back and forth until I get it to the right position. All right, so what I just realized is that this is the back side of the CNC. I need to rotate it 180 degrees or 60 or I don't know, whatever angle that is. I got to rotate this, turn this around so that the router is on the front side. So I gotta turn it around.
All right guys, so can you see my issue here? Can you see the mistake that I made? This is not one of my finest moments. All right, there you go. It's starting to click. The brain's working. There you go, Edgar. Way to use that noggin.
Actually, better yet, I'm just gonna rotate the table. Let's do that. And that is why you need wheels on your table.
Once I had the CNC positioned where I wanted it, it was just time to get the cable set up. I plugged everything in, make sure that everything is kind of cleared out of the way of the cutting area.
All right guys, so I'm back in business, got my CNC set up, the router turns on.
All right guys, so let me go ahead and recap 5 things that I want you guys to take away. You may take something else from this video, maybe something that you're gonna do or something that you're definitely not gonna do, but there are 5 things that I wanna share with you. Number 1, and I wanna reiterate again, you gotta get some 5-inch heavy duty casters on your CNC table. It's the one thing that I'm really glad I did early on when I set my table up, getting those heavy duty casters. You can see how easy it is to move. You may not be moving homes, but you may wanna reposition your CNC table. You may wanna clean out your CNC table and get behind it, and it's just so much easier when you have these heavy duty casters. The second tip is to have another person help you lift your CNC when it's time to take it off the table and then to put it back on. So I definitely would recommend getting another set of hands to help you lift your CNC. The third tip is that you don't have to break down your CNC to be able to move it. Even before starting to move, I had already decided in my mind that I was not going to break down the CNC to then rebuild it in the new place. That was something that I did not want to have to go through. Since then, I've already completed 1 or 2 projects and I haven't had any issues with my CNC. Everything is as is, nothing's broken, nothing's out of whack, everything is good to go. So you definitely don't have to break it down, but if you want to, go for it. But you can see from my experience, I didn't break it down and everything's good to go. Tip number 4 is just take your time. Don't rush. You may need to rush to get from point A to point B, but once you get to point B, if you don't have any projects going, just take your time, because I find when we rush, we end up making mistakes. Even when we're executing projects, if we rush, we are going to make mistakes. So go ahead and take your time, and I promise you, you're not going to make as many mistakes. And the last and final tip is do not jump on your CNC table. And if you do, make sure you have enough storage on your phone to be able to record it. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys were able to enjoy it, take something out of it, maybe even have a laugh out of my mistakes. I'll see you guys on the next video.